Hello, second graders. I would like to show you a little bit about solving some word problems today. So, today is Monday and it is April 13th, and we are going to practice solving some word problems that have to do with money. So, let's do a couple examples together. And let's take a look at this first one. And I am in my textbook. And I am on page 53. All right, so this one is about David. Oh, we have a David in our class. Hi, David. After paying for a set meal, which cost $5.95, David had $1.60 left. How much money did he have at first? All right, so we have, when we have a word problem like this, one thing we do is step one, we read the problem, which we did. We read the problem. Step two, we underline the question. So let's underline it. How much money did he have at first? And then what we do is we take that question and we turn it into an answer sentence. And they've kind of already done this down here for us. But I'm going to go ahead and write it down at the bottom of my little whiteboard here that I have. And I am going to use David's name. How are you doing, David? All right. So David had blank at first. All right, and I've got my capital letter and my end mark. Awesome. All right, so that is our answer sentence that we have at the bottom. All right, another thing we do when we're solving word problems is we draw our two lines, and then over here is where we write our who and our what. In the middle, this is where we do our unit bar, and then over here on the right side is where we show our computation. So let's see, who are we talking about here? Let's see, it looks like we're talking about David. Hi, David. How you doing? Alrighty, so we're talking about David, and we are trying to find out how much money David had at first. So our who, this is kind of our who and our what. So we have David's money. David's cashola. Alrighty, so here we have David's money. And then in the middle here, this is where we draw our unit bar, and a unit bar is just a fancy name for a rectangle, as we know. And then what we do is we go back and we read the problem and we fill in our information for our unit bar. So let's go back to here. Let's see, after paying for a set meal, which is kind of like a little, when you have a main entree and then some side dishes and a drink, call it a set meal. So this was $5.95. And then after he bought this, David still had some money left. So we're trying to find out how much money he had at first. So how much money before he bought this meal. So that is what we're trying to find. So we're trying to find kind of like the whole number. We can think of these as the two parts. One of the parts is how much the dinner cost. And the other part is how much money he had left. And so we're trying to find out the whole number. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to chunk my unit bar into two parts. And one part is how much the meal cost. So it cost $5.95. And then David had $1.60 left. So that's our other part. So I'm going to put that there. And then our question mark goes above or below the unit bar. So what we're trying to find out is the whole number. And then we can go ahead and find our answer. So we can work our computation over here to the right. So I'm going to line up my problem here. So $5.95 plus $1.60. I'll make sure I've lined these up, put my decimal point here so I don't have to do that at the end. I'm going to go over here, the ones. 5 plus 0 is 5. 9 plus 6 is 15. And we can't put 15 here, so we'll rename it as 105 tens, or $1.50. And I can go over here to my dollars and my hundreds place. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. And then I'm going to go back to my question mark. I'm going to cross that off, and write my answer and think about, would that make sense? Let's see, if David bought kind of a dinner that cost $5.95 and then he had $1.60 left, how much money did he have at first? And I think that would make sense that he had $7.55 at first, and then he bought some stuff and he had some left over. So then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put this in my answer sentence there. And David had $7.55 at first. And I think that seems like it would make sense. All right, so we have one more problem that is kind of similar to this one that you can go ahead and try on your own if you'd like. Remember, some things we're trying to do is write our answer sentence, write our who and our what. Our unit bar is a fancy name for a rectangle. And then our computation is over here to the side. I did want to draw your attention before we go to a couple of problems in our homework for today that I thought might be a little bit tricky. So I just wanted to read those to you and talk about what I would recommend you do when you're solving these problems. So on page 80 in your workbook, so workbook page 80, there are a couple of problems that I just wanted to draw your attention to. And my workbook is falling apart here. So I wanted us to quickly look at, I covered up my answers here. This one about Carly. So this one I think you can figure out, and you can try to do our steps and things like that. Ms. Taylor needs to finish my steps there. But for this one, I wanted us to look at, because it might be a little confusing. It says Carly gets an allowance of $3 a week. She saved $2.45 in the first week and 95 cents in the second week. The third week, she saved all of her allowance. How much did she save all together? So for this one, I would recommend, well, why don't we go ahead? We can do this one together. So she saved blank. I'll put my $sign. She saved blank altogether. So the reason I wanted to look at this one together is because the unit bar is a little bit trickier. So over here, we are talking about Carly. I'm going to put my who and my what. This is Carly's allowance. Okay, now to the unit bar, a fancy name for a rectangle in the middle. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger because we have 3 chunks that we need to make in this one. So she saved, let's see, she gets an allowance of $3 a week. She saved $2.45 in the first week, 95 cents in the second week, and then the third week she saved all of her allowance. So if she saved all of her allowance in the third week, that means she saved $3. Okay, so how we would do that is in the first week, so we'd have 3 chunks. In the first week, she saved $2.45. In the second week, she only saved 95 cents. I'm going to write that in dollars because I know I'm going to have to be adding here. And then in the third week, she saved all of her allowance. That means in the first week, she saved this much. This is the second week. This is the third week. You could even label it if you wanted. This would be the first week, second week, third week. And then our question mark is how much did she save all together? And then when we are finding our answer, again, really important that we line up our $signs and our decimals, which is why I decided to put 95 cents using dollars, because I knew I was going to have to add it over here. And then my $3 would look like this. And then after I've made sure I've got them all lined up, I'm going to go ahead and work my computation. And I'm going to come over here across on my question mark, write my answer, and see if that would make sense. So we're trying to find the whole number for this one. All right, so I'm going to let you finish that one. But one other one I wanted to look at, and I think for this one, I'm just going to show you how to do the unit bar because I think you can make the other steps yourself. This one is about Matthew, and he counted his money I'm looking down here, he had two $20 bills, three $5 bills, six $1 bills, eight quarters, four dimes, three nickels, and 18 pennies. How much money did he have altogether? Whew, that is a lot of money. So what I would recommend you do is take a look at all these different money amounts and think about what your unit bar could look like. So let me give you two options for your unit bars for number 6. All right, so this is number 6. And again, we're on page 80. Now, one way that you could make your unit bar, let me give you a little couple choices here. So one choice for your unit bar, you could, let's see, I see that he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could chunk it into 7 chunks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you could put each of the different money amounts. So, for example, it says he had two $20 bills. And I know two $20 bills makes 40. Three $5 bills. Let's see, 3 times 5 is 15. Six $1 bills. 6 times 1, 6. 8 quarters. Ooh, 8 quarters. I know there's 4 quarters in a dollar. So 8 quarters would be $2. 4 dimes. 4 times 10, 40 cents. 3 nickels. And 18 pennies. Okay. Hi, sweetie. Is lunch ready?
Lunchtime.
Okay, I'll be up in a second. Thank you, hon. All right, so you could do it this way. Or another thing that you could do. Oh, you want to say hi? Okay, quickly say hi. Here you go.
Hey, it's lunchtime, students.
Okay.
So you might want to eat lunch. Right
Okay,
now.
thanks, sweetie. You got some dirt on your cheek there. Okay, go see daddy. I'll be right up. Okay. All right, so you could do it this way, or another idea that I was thinking, you could just chunk your unit bar into 2 chunks and have all the dollars on one side and then all the cents in the other. So this could be an option for you. So 40 plus 15, let's see, that would be 55 plus 6. 55 plus 6, that would be 61 plus 2. So you could do it this way. And then over here, you could add up the cents. And then you could have your cents over here. And then you could add them together. So these are just 2 options for solving number 6 on page 80. I hope that helps. And I look forward to seeing your workbooks. Have a great day, scholars.